For many years, my New Year resolution had just been a wish list waiting to fail. Until I discovered this one shift that changed everything. What I'll be sharing with you in this video is a step-by-step framework that changed how I see my goals and stopped me from making the same silly mistakes every year. Now, just like you, I used to start the year with ambitious dreams, vague plans, and even fake discipline, and always wondered why things never changed. Now, that pattern almost cost me my dreams, my purpose, and even the God-given potentials that were placed inside me. What I'll be sharing with you broke that cycle. And if any of this sounds like you need to hear this. Now, I wrote down a few things in my notes I'll be making reference to. The first step you need to take is clarity. You need to be very clear about what you want. Now, I see many people start the year by just writing what they want to be. Some people say they want to be successful, they want to grow. But the problem with that, those are just vague dreams. You being tired of where you are is not a clear goal. You saying that you want more out of life is very vague. Those are not dreams. They are not clear dreams. They are just vague. And vague dreams will always produce vague results. Now, I wrote something down here. I said, if you focus too early on the how to, you limit yourself. You limit how big that you can dream. By the time you start focusing on the way you want to achieve, let's say you want to start a YouTube video, or you want to start a YouTube page, you start focusing on the kind of camera, the kind of lights, and all of those things. You start limiting yourself as to how big the channel can go. What you need to do, first of all, is to get clear on what the mission or even the vision of what you want to achieve in this. Now, there are some problems that people have when it comes to clarity. Is that number one is that their dreams are too generic. People will often say things like, I want to grow, I want to be successful, I want to start making content. But what does that even mean? Those are very subjective things, and it means different things to different people. If you don't get clear as to what areas you want to grow in, you would always repeat the same mistake. And before the year even goes to the second month, you've already given up on everything that you want to do. No wonder I always used to give up when I started making videos and all of those things, because I wasn't very clear as to what my assignment was or what I wanted to achieve. I remember many years ago, I would tell myself that I was going to, make videos on YouTube or even on Instagram. And then the problem is when I start, I'll make a couple videos that I would like and be impressed with. But then after a short period of time, I'll give up, because I didn't understand where I was trying to go. But what really changed for me was making a clear distinction on what I wanted to do, what the purpose of me creating on YouTube online. That gave me a clear strategy on how I could go about creating my content, even month to month, and even going down to week by week. So when your dreams are very clear or your goals are clear, it helps you to develop strategies and even the resources that you need to go further. Now, I said something here. If your dream sounds like everybody's dream, it's not clear yet. So if your dream just sounds like what your friend says it is, then that is not a clear dream. Your dream needs to be very clear and specific, that when you say it, other people can know that, oh, this is very unique to you, and not just to everybody. Nobody can place or claim that is their dream, right? And then the second problem that I see with a lot of people make is having a borrowed vision. People want to start doing what other people are doing. They see their friend making a YouTube video or starting their content, they also want to do it. Some people want to do what, maybe they see a family member and all of those things. Those are all borrowed visions, and borrowed visions will never give you the tenacity or even the endurance to do it. Maybe you see a mentor who is doing something very, unique, and you'd also want to do that. I remember many years ago, there's this mentor of mine that he used to create some videos online, magic videos and all of those things. I remember that I was, saying that, I'm going to be like this guy. I'm going to start making videos like him and all of those things. Now, I never knew what his desires or what was the purpose behind him making those videos. So now I carried that borrowed vision and then I started to run with it. What now happened for me was that I gave up, because I didn't understand what the mission is. Whenever you don't understand the mission or even understand the vision of what you're doing, failure is inevitable. Like the Bible says, where there is no vision, the people will perish. And that's just very true. If you don't have like a clear vision of what you're trying to do, there's just going to be it's just a matter of time that you get tired and even quit what you're trying to do. Now, the third mistake that I see people usually make with clarity is emotional vision, when your vision is not very practical. Maybe like I remember when I would go to like church or listen to like some motivational speakers or all of those things, and then they'll say something that will trigger you, that will make you feel very motivated, and then you go into the week on Monday and you're like, oh, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to do this and that. But then the problem with that was you were just inspired. Inspiration is good for you to think about things that you need to do for yourself, but it's not good for you to be inspired by what someone says and then you just run into it without having clarity about what you want to do. So like I said, you need to be inspired, but then you also need to be clear. There was a quote I saw by Mike Haidt that says, if you don't have a clear vision, no strategy will save you. So you have to have a clear strategy. You have to have a clear vision, because that vision will help you know what is wrong. When friends say we need to go out, or when family members tell you you need to do this and that, you know that that's not part of your vision. Or even people that come into your life. Having a vision makes it easy for you to say no to things, even the good things. When you don't have a vision, people will suggest things that are good for you. Things that are good but are not good for you. Let me say that again. When you have no vision, people will suggest good things but that are not good for you. So it's important that you first of all start the year with being clear on where you're trying to go. Now, what does clarity looks like? Clarity looks like you saying, this is what I'm trying to build for. I'm trying to build my life towards the assignment or the purpose that God has given to me. Now, for me, when I started this YouTube video, I knew that there was, because of the current state I was many years ago, I remember that I was in a place where I was very confused, and I knew that there were so many people who were in that position. Now, for me, starting that video was, me trying to help while navigating through my own journey, helping other people who were in that state to, find their own meaning and purpose to life. If your own vision does not have purpose attached to it, you might not necessarily have the tenacity to continue. One of the ways I was able to achieve this for me was through prayer. I remember many years ago in a place of prayer during the end of the year retreat. I recommend you do that. If you're someone who doesn't do that, you should try to do a retreat. So I remember during one of those retreats, I was praying to God, really searching, what is it that you want me to do and how do I even need to go about this? And I remember that when I kept on praying, I think it was 3 days or so. And then I remember on the last day, I wasn't even praying. I was just lying down and probably just laying down my head and then thinking through. And then I started hearing what it is that I needed to do. Sometimes just even being quiet, opens you up to hearing, the voice of God and even hearing directions that you need to take for your life. So if you're someone that doesn't practice that, I would recommend you practice that. Step number 2 is getting specific. You need to be specific about what you want. Now, I wrote down here, he said, once you've made a decision to be serious with your life and pursue your dreams, you need to be very specific with what your vision is. Now, although it is very important that, many of us have big dreams and all of that, sometimes your dream doesn't need to be, it's like some grandeur thing or like some big, dream of taking over the world and all of that. Your dream could just be as little as you being a better communicator, or you becoming more fit in the year. Maybe if you're someone who you found that like your health, in area of your health, you found wanting, or your finances. You could set small dreams. Your dream doesn't have to be always big. I said here that your vision could be as little as becoming in a better shape. Now, if you're able to, set those specific goals for yourself, it becomes easier for you to now write down what the strategies of achieving those things are. Now, if you say you want to become a better communicator, that helps you now know that, okay, if I want to become a better communicator, that means that I have to start reading books. I have to start listening to people who are good communicators. I need to get materials, pay the price, and take courses and different things that I need to do to become a better communicator, right? But if you were not specific about that, the year will end and you will not know that was what your dream was about. If you just write, I want to become better, I want to grow, that's too generic. But now you see how from getting clarity about where we want to go and now coming down to being specific about the dream or the vision that you have for yourself in terms of becoming a better communicator, or even, becoming fit, more healthier and all of those things. It helps you develop strategies. Now, I wrote down here, however small or big your vision is, you need to be very specific with it, because that's the only way clarity can come. No matter how big or small your dream is, you need to be very specific with it. Most people just have a mental note about what they want, but just having a mental note of what you want is not good enough. You need to write it down, because even the Bible says, you say, write the vision and make it plain so that he that see it will run with it. Because if you see it, there's something about having, your vision in front of you, seeing what you want to achieve. There's something about you seeing it every day written down. I think it makes it, for me, in my own personal opinion, it makes it believable. It makes it look like it's going to be achievable because you've written it down. But when it's in your head, it's not communicated clearly. Sometimes we as humans, we are very visual oriented. We want to see things. We want to see that we are going to be able to achieve something. When something is before you, just like this camera now, me being able to see that this camera is in front of me, I'm very aware that there's a camera here and there's a way I need to, coordinate myself. But if I knew that there was no camera in front of me, I might act in a certain way that is inconsistent with how people who would sit in the camera addressing people would act, right? So that's the same way. If you don't have a vision before you, you would often do things that are inconsistent with what your dream or what your goal is for the year. You'll be easily distracted here and there, and you do things that are not even part of your dreams. That's not what it is. So now, for example, like I wrote down here, I said, for example, if your goal is to lose weight or get in shape, you need to narrow it down from that vague statement to something like, I need to hit the gym 1 hour every day. Now, that was something I did for myself. Back then when I wanted to start my fitness journey, I just wanted to say, I want to become more fit. I want to become more healthier. But then that was just me having clarity about what I wanted. But now being specific as to what I wanted was me telling myself, okay, I need to go to the gym every day for 2 hours, every day, whether I like it or not, whether I'm feeling happy, sad, whether my body's like sore or whatever. I just needed to go to the gym for 2 hours. Now, for you, it could be you want to become a better reader, you want to become a better communicator. So now you need to be specific about what you can do to achieve it. It could be something as small as little as saying you would start by reading 5 pages a day. Now, many years ago, I didn't used to read. I didn't like reading, or I just never thought like reading was something interesting for me. I always found it like boring, and I found it like a punishment, maybe because of how school made it seem, right? But when I made the decision to start reading, I didn't just start by saying I want to read one whole book and in a day. That was just very impossible for me to do, and I think that's the mistake that a lot of us make. We start by saying I'm going to read a chapter in a day, or two chapters in a day, when you've never even carried a book before and you want to start reading 2 chapters. That's just failure waiting to happen. What you should do is start by breaking it down and say, okay, I'm going to read 5 pages a day. And if you read that goal and you feel you have the energy for pushing further, then you can push further, because that's how momentum goes. You know, if you don't start by the small consistent steps, if you just start with you want to have big motion, you're going to become inconsistent, because it's now going to feel like punishment. Because remember, for however old you are, let's say you're like 35, 40, or whatever age you are, even 20, remember that for 20 years you have not been reading. For 20 years you've not been going to the gym. Now you want to start going to the gym. It means that you have to take it step by step. You have to start by 5 pages, 10 pages, and then you keep on progressing. Don't just start by rushing into certain big unachievable dreams or unachievable goals for yourself. Now that brings us down to step 3, which I find is the most important out of everything: taking action. See, many of us go through all these other steps. We, go to conferences, we go to our retreats, we plan, do so many things, we listen to materials. But when it comes to the place of taking action, that's where we are found wanting. I remember myself, I would usually write so many things that I wanted to do, but when it comes to taking action, I found myself being very lazy, or even being procrastinating. I would procrastinate. I'll be like, oh, when I get the camera, I'll do this. When I get the light, I'll do this. And I found that many ways were going, and I was not even making any progress at all. Right? I remember when I wanted to start going to the gym, I was like, oh, when I get better gym shoes, I'll start going to the gym. When I have money to buy all the other supplements, I'll start going to the gym. But what I was just doing was just procrastinating on taking the action that needed to get me to where I needed to go. Just take that action. Take action. Whatever little action you can take today to get you to the goal you want, please just start today. Because if you don't start today, start this moment, you keep procrastinating, and the year is going to come, December, and you're going to be like, wow, things just went by. Things don't just go by. It is our inaction that keeps us in a place of inertia. Just like Newton's law of motion that says a body will continue to remain in a state of rest until acted upon by an external force. And that external force is you. If you don't get up and take action, you're going to remain in that same position, and year after year and year after year, you will still be remaining the same person. And see, this is where some people now start getting jealous or envious about their friends or people who they see getting ahead of them. Those people just took action. I wrote down something here. I said, in order for you to take action on the plans you have, I recommend you start with little bits of action. If your goal was to start a YouTube channel, why don't you start by, maybe doing a 5-minute video or 1-minute video? Test the waters. You're not going to become good overnight. No one becomes perfect overnight. You start by taking little steps. Even the people that you admire, they started from somewhere. You can go back, check their old videos, check how scrappy they are, and even maybe not unorganized. See, the thing that you need to start is courage. You need to have courage to just start. You would fail. Oh, I've failed so many times. And there's something that failure teaches you that nothing else will teach you. Failure will teach you more lessons than any school or institution will teach you. And if you don't take that courage and fail, you never learn anything. There's a book by John C. Maxwell, that says Failing Forward. When I read that book, it changed my whole perspective about failure. And for me, I used to see failure as something that I should avoid. But the moment I read that book, it made me believe that, you know what, I need to fail more. Because the more I fail, the quicker I would learn and get faster to where I need to go. But by just staying and avoiding failure, you're not going to learn anything. Now, that brings me to the end of this video. I hope with these 3 steps that I've shared with you, you will take action, be specific about your goals, and get clarity about what you want to achieve in this year 2026. And hopefully that this year 2026 will be much more better than 2025 for you. Thank you very much, and see you in the next episode.